Welcome to Lucia Gabriela TV, the place to be where we come to learn everything we can and how to master our love life, our relationships, and our sexuality. Today we have a very exciting topic, which is about savvy single ladies' guide to rocking their first date. So many of our audience are so excited about this conversation today that we have with Raeeka Yaghmai. So let me just introduce you and read a little bit about her and what she does, and how she can help you to really rock your first date. And Raeeka Yaghmai, founder and CEO of Dating with Confidence, is a certified life coach and a dating and relationship expert for single women, as well as a professional opera singer. She helps savvy, smart, and high-achieving single women who have created success in many areas of their life, but not in their love life, to stop the repeating patterns of dating the wrong guys, connecting to their self-worth and value to feel confident and sexy so that they can attract quality relationship, ready men, and finally create the love life they desire. Additionally, being an Iranian-American, she specialized in helping Eastern and Middle Eastern women navigate dating in the Western world. So she coaches women virtually by phone or Skype all around the world. So it is my honor to introduce you today to Raeeka into our show. Welcome, Raeeka.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So I hope that I'm pronouncing your name right.
You're doing a fantastic job.
Awesome. So yeah, today's topic is so delicious, exciting. So many of our followers already on Facebook, on YouTube has been like, oh my God, we had to get into this, and they're excited to hear from you today about how to rock in your first date, and really, really excited. But before we go dive deep into this topic, how do you start in this journey of coaching women and how to rock their love life?
Like, what's my story, basically? What happened? Well, as we were talking beforehand, I've been a professional opera singer for the past 25 years, and in that career, it was, very much told, or at least the way I was, trained, was that you just are married to your art, and kind of even frowned upon at the time to be in a relationship. So didn't learn much there, and we were very confined to the people that I was knowing just within, the industry. And there was a lot of conflict, up in my head about what I should be doing and what my heart wanted. And I got on this track of attracting unavailable men, one after another. To be clear, 11 of them. And I got cheated on every single time. Now, some of the times I wasn't officially cheated, but like I would be broken up with, because I would never break up, because I don't, I never had the strength to do that. And I would find out like a week later that he's totally in a full-fledged relationship with somebody else. And so after that, it was my fiance, where we were together, and he left with a text message. And after 3 times of, breaking up and coming back and breaking up, and, experience, because I realize how much I can have control, and as opposed to being controlling, and how much I can really create what I want in my love life, in my life. just by changing the way I think and I show up in my life. It was just mind-boggling to me. It was very different than the box that I had lived in before. And so I got very interested, and as I was on my path, I started actually getting my certification in life coaching, and I became a certified life coach. And I was always interested in human romantic or human connection, really, like how to build a community, how to be with other people, how to choose your life. And I chose, relationships as my niche when I was in school. And then I came out and I was doing breakup and divorce for a while, breakup and divorce recovery. And then I realized that's part of healing and dating. And I love it. Absolutely. And I still sing, so I do both. Dating, auditioning, kind of the same thing.
So that's beautiful. Yes. And we can always say that based in our own experience is a greatest gift that we have to offer to a client, because we have been there, done it, and maybe we're one step ahead of the game, and just we can share that wisdom. So
Yeah, in a way. And of course, then there are techniques and tools that are really, that really comes by being a coach,
mhm.
which is more than a glorified advice. It's a process. And I think that's why the process works.
Yeah.
Because it's not a one size fit all, like I did this, therefore you should do this. But
Mhm.
it's like, what are your needs? And let's get you to have what you need, to what you want.
Yeah. Yeah, I always find that is that integration of the work, what we learn as a coach self, as you learn something that it has worked for you, can work for the client, but also there's so many tools and strategies and coaching that when you integrate it, it make it more yummy and delicious. So that's my
That's true.
perspective in there. So
Yeah.
let's dive into the guide to rock your first date. Like, just tell us more about it.
Well, I think that first date is really, um, it's a pivotal moment, because it's the first impression. And a lot can be created in that first date to make it a win, um, and success. And here is the thing. None of us can guarantee that somebody's going to go on a first date, and if you use this formula, you're going to find your Prince Charming, because that ain't going to happen. So the first thing about the first date, or the most important thing about that first date, is one's approach to it, and understanding that how can I make this first date a win, regardless of whether this ends in a relationship or not. And I think that when we have that, and when we go in with that kind of information and with that set of tools, all of a sudden, because you're showing up at a higher level of yourself, the chances of losing the guy that's the right guy for you goes down.
Hmm.
And the chances of finding the right guy goes up. Because, first dates are scary. Let's be honest. As I was saying, first dates, auditions, same thing. It's like a job interview sometimes,
Oh, yes.
So I think that it's very important that we have this set of skills. I think a lot of women, I work with women, so a lot of women that I know go on first dates, and they really shoot themselves in the foot because of taking this big baggage that they're taking with them and trying to be protective and trying to do the right thing or trying to impress. So that first date is so important to learn how to show up.
Yes, definitely the first impressions really count. Is and we know this in like in all areas of our life. Like first impressions are like they last forever. It's like we're like when people always ask like how do you meet this, how do you met this person, how do you guys get together, or how anything. It's like you always
Yeah.
go back to the first date.
That's so true. That's so true. Nobody talks about their second date, really, right?
No, like
It's always the first date.
yeah, like I don't even remember when I went to the second date. Or the third date, or the fourth date, or even actually like maybe the 10th date, and then we went kayaking. Maybe was the greatest one, but it will
Yeah.
never, it will never be the
Pivot.
that pivot, that wowing experience that is like it's so. It was like that the emotional day, like the whole butterflies are there. It was
Yeah.
just a beautiful experience. So definitely the
Yes.
first date is the one that is really important to take care. So when you talk about one of the issues that we see women, and I would say also in men, because I work a lot with men too, is you said the baggage. They bring a lot of their baggage and their pain, and they're protected. They protect themselves and they block
Yeah.
themselves,
Yes.
and it's for me, like my angle working with men, I also work with women, but it's funny because I just had a client also working with a client, and when we working on the aspect like of going to the first date and meeting the right woman and things like that, and you can see that the one of the biggest obstacles it was the baggage that they carry.
Oh my
So
gosh. Oh my gosh.
it's like there's like the whole like when we talk about blockages, we really is like is she being honest? And that's what I was gonna ask. Is like they come with this set of questions and this set of like demands of like, is she being honest? Is she actually telling the truth all the time? Is actually she's the one that she's like it's all about honesty and trust that they go for the first date. So what is your insight on that? Like when you coach women, like come to the first date, like to let go of the baggage, let go of all that is holding them back from the attracting the true love,
Yeah.
and at the same time being open and vulnerable, and at the same time have their boundaries. Like how that a woman should prepare to go on the first day while they're still authentic to themselves, open, and be wiser too.
That's a very good question, Gabriela. I think that when women or when people go on a first date and their idea of success on first date is not impressing the other person or not finding the one, but going on a first date to truly and freely get to know another human being and define success in a way that is, how are they showing up? How are they standing in their power? What are they learning about themselves? That's when a date goes, a first date or whatever date goes successfully no matter what. I think the biggest, not the biggest, but one of the biggest mistakes that I see happening is that we go into a date with the expectation that because this is a date, that it has to work, and Prince Charming or Princess Charming got to be on the other side of the table. And our whole focus is either, depending on what our baggage is, is either to impress them or to protect ourselves. And when that's the mentality, mixed with, for people who are a little older, maybe in their late 30s, 40s, who are like, oh my God, I want to have a kid, this has to work. With that rush of this has to be the one, and that kind of like, tightness, that's a total recipe for disaster.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so important to redefine success around first dates. Go in because you really want to know, how do you show up when you're in front of a new person? And when you do that, setting boundaries, being your authentic self, it's so easy. It's so easy because you're not fighting anything. You're just there to share. And just like any relationship, let's say you have coffee with a new friend, you don't go in saying, how am I going to set my boundaries with this person, right? You just go in to have a good time, get to know them. This is the same thing. But I think we think of first dates as in a whole different way, and we label it in a different way, and that's when things just starts getting messy. Am I answering the question?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, definitely. I just want to turn into that one. I love it. Is authentic, and at the same time, to go back to your first point, which it was, how can I make this a win, regardless where it goes to the next step?
Exactly.
And it is fascinating because this also can be applied in everything we do in life, not just in our first date, but it's like with our business, with our family, with our children. It's like, how can I make this? How can I prepare myself to win? Like, how can I just be fully present and go all the way? And when we prepare ourselves for a win-win, like we actually go with this mindset and the determination to make the best of it, to have the most fun of it, like to really enjoy it, to when we are not just mind oriented, but when we integrate, when everything I speak, make sure to remember that I talk in an integrated way. So it's like my body, heart, and soul is like fully there for you to create that win-win in all realms and dimensions and places. So yeah, it just feels so good and so liberating at the same time, because you are there to show up for yourself. And everything else just falls into place.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So what could be, beside the baggage that we bring into our first date? You already shared with us a great tool to go with the mindset of, how can I make this a win regardless? And I believe and I feel that the word regardless is the key, the powerful key here.
Yes, exactly. Because again, that force, that feeling of, this is the thing, Lucia. Oh, I just realized I called Gabriela in a second.
Yeah, that's fine. I go by both.
By both, okay. My flamenco teacher's name was Gabriela, so I think that just came to me. It's that when we go into dating and we go with expectation, that this has to be this way, like this is the box and this is how it's supposed to go, and this is how he or she is supposed to act, and this is how I am supposed to act. There's nothing authentic about that. Nothing authentic about that. But when you go to a date, and we're talking about the word regardless, and it really goes back to defining what success means for you. When this is, I think this is the key, that in anything we do, in dating and relationship, or anything in our life, we so often don't realize that when we are being controlling of the situation, whether it's expectations, taking our baggage in, protecting ourselves, making sure there are no mistakes made, wanting to make sure that he or she is the person. Whenever we do that, we are robbing ourselves from the opportunity to really get to know the other person. We're living in our own bubble in our own head. And dating is not a means to the end. I'm sorry, it's not the end. It's a means to the end. It's a process of getting to, the whole point of dating is let's go see if this is a match. And sometimes we know sooner than later, right? But the issue is when we go in with our judgment, we really rob ourselves from huge opportunities that could exist. I mean, if I had gone into my date with my, life partner, with judging him on his first appearance, we would never be together right now. Judging him on the first phone conversation we had, we would never be together right now. That doesn't make me somebody who's like, forgiving in a way that I'm sabotaging what I want. But it's taking a deep breath and assessing things, and at the end understanding, is that an important quality? Is that something that's going to make a lasting relationship? If his genes weren't to my liking, which they weren't, and eventually I got rid of them, is that going to make or break 50 years of relationship down the line? Because that's what I want. See, it's so important that when we go on that first date, we're going in to make a connection, to rule people in rather than rule them out. And so often we go in to rule people out.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? It's so interesting that we do that in relationship all the time. We always looking for the problems. Like we always looking for it's like what can I find of a problem here? we go with that scoop, like with that lens there, just to find the most ridiculous things that that are not even important. That's not even important. Because
yeah. Lucia, I see, in fact, one of my clients just broke up recently with a guy that she was dating for 3 months. And I was telling her last night, and this is pretty common, that's why I'm bringing it up right now, that so often we mistaken important qualities and attractive qualities. Most of the people who don't have dating tools, at least all of the women that I have been working with, and I've been doing this for the past 8 years, so a lot of women, their approach to dating is based on attractive qualities. Is he tall? Does he have a doctorate degree? Is he a doctor? Is he an engineer? How much money he makes? What did he wear to the first date? Can we banter? Oh, bantering. My goodness, is that a big thing? Like that's attraction, and it really, it's shifting that mentality to say, listen, these are all attractive qualities. this is not what's going to make a relationship. When you have a death in the family, or you have an emergency, or you, God forbid, something happens to your child at school and you have to be there when things get rough, those qualities, the nice shirt and the doctorate degree, is going to do nothing. And my client, I'm so proud of her, was dating a guy who was after attractive qualities rather than important qualities. Now, mind you, my client is gorgeous, but this person was a doctor and expected my client to fit in this, like turn herself into a pretzel and fit into this box that he liked. For example, when they went out to have ice cream, he commented on that. Wow, you finished your ice cream. What? None of your business. But you're not my dad. And why should that even be? Like, yes, if your thing is to have a healthy life and you want to be with somebody who, is on the healthier side of stuff, fine, which my client is, because she is in the medical industry herself. But one ice cream makes you judge? Right there, that person shows what they're after. And those are not qualities that build a relationship. They break a relationship. Unless you decide to turn into a pretzel, or you want to be with somebody who's turned themselves into a pretzel for you. And that never works.
Yes. And that's so true. There's so many times of in relationship that we have been so blind because we have not have those I love technology. I love internet because it's allowing us to connect with amazing people like you, us to create shows like this, to create podcasts, to create things that a lot of people have become more aware, and like people really educating themselves. So that's why I love technology and where we are. I feel like it has been one of the greatest times to be alive and to share that. And because my parents didn't have that. They didn't have access to these
Yep.
books and to these listening audios, right? Audio books, and to these amazing documentaries, and just all these amazing stuff. And my parents didn't have that, so I didn't grow up with like my role models, a weekend role models, where they would teach me how to date and how to follow my heart and my bliss and be on my power. And I went through my own journey of attracting the wrong individuals in my life, and also even more deeper, like toxic and abusive and a whole shebang and all that stuff. That's why my thing is recovery from trauma and abuse and things like that.
Oh,
So
that's so needed.
that's my niche. Some
That's
levels,
amazing.
especially with women. That's like helping them to transcend that emotional and sexual trauma is a deep passion of mine. So going
Wow,
back
this has
to
been a big year for you then, with the whole Me Too thing coming out and so many women being able to even talk about it.
yes, and I have reserved myself to talk about the whole Me Too movement because I will create a video on that. But
Mm,
but just
yeah.
the insight is because I also work with men and I work with individuals. I feel that there have been so much abuse in all gender in both genders and genders in general and sexes that I feel like the Me Too movement is a great door that has been opened for all the other genders come with the Me Too. So it is important to know that it has been a very intense year for that movement to come up, and we're still encouraging people to look for help, to
Yeah.
reach out, that there's help available out there. So when I will go back to the dating, it was the fact that we didn't have this in the past, but now we do. So I feel like today we don't have excuses um, to keep ourselves blind, because we've been blind for so long. Like we have been putting ourselves these things for so long, the blindfold for so long, that yeah, we just can't keep living like this. And it's so important to know that when we're talking about relationship, the beautiful part that you mentioned, the attractive quality, is that we get into, with the blindfold, we get into relationship, and somehow the blindfold has some kind of shears just to see what is attractive, and then we think that we can change, we can change ourselves or we can change the other individuals. So we get into this relationship, and that's, I feel like, it's one of the reasons a lot of relationships are toxic, is that we get into this relationship wanting and have a goal of changing the other individual, which is just a recipe for disaster.
Totally. Totally.
Yeah, and then you have to come to many therapists like me that have to help you with recovery from trauma and abuse and all that stuff. So
exactly.
Just listen to what we're saying here right now and how to rock your first date.
To prevent all of that heartache.
Yes, that's what I said. Like, coming from an integrative perspective and point of view of life, is really important for our audience to pay attention to all the conversations that we share here in our shows, and all the amazing speakers that we bring, and their wisdom, and their stories, and I know that many people receive great benefit from these conversations. So we have achieved that today too, with the first date and how to rock it. So to wrap it up, this amazing conversation, I know that we can talk forever.
Yes, of course.
Right? We can have like a margarita or
totally
or whatever, a wine, or your kombucha.
Totally.
And spend hours together. And to wrap it up, what Raeeka has shared with us is it's beautiful and profound, and I will definitely encourage everyone to re-listen to it. And it's going with the mindset of detachment of the date itself.
Yes.
In a few words, to just be present, be authentic, be who you truly are by knowing who you are, right? Like, getting to know yourself first, and just express that yourself fully in your first date, and be detached.
Yeah.
Because, like Raeeka said, you go there to actually be in this process of like, hey, do we have something in common? But that common that comes from a core, that comes from like grounded foundation of heart to heart, soul to soul, energy to energy, and in that comes like a very multidimensional level than just the superficial and physical.
Yes.
So,
oh my God. Yes, you nailed it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, so if you're gonna go on your first date this weekend, that is New Year's.
Yeah.
We have so many people going on that. Oh, New Year's! This is my year, my rocky year to attract the amazing love into my life.
Exactly.
Take a big breath in, check yourself in, release all that baggage out, burn it out, write it on a piece of paper, burn it before you go into the date outside, and come fully with intention of making this a win-win situation, regardless where it's gonna take you next.
Yes. I think that the win is when you are kind to the other person, you let them shine as they are, even if it's not a match for you. Mm-hmm. And for you to show up, and see, what did I learn about myself? What do I know more about now? What do I want more of? What do I want less of? What do I do next time? How do I, handle the conversation in a better way? How did I grow from this? That's a win-win.
Yep. That's a conscious win-win.
Yeah.
It has been a pleasure to listen to you, to learn from you, and to feel you. Thank you so much for all you have shared with us today. So how can we find you? How can our community find you?
I am all over the internet. I am, well, my website is datingwithconfidencecoaching.com, and all of my social media is listed there, from Facebook to Twitter to LinkedIn, whatever you love, and YouTube, TV channel. If you want more of me, I have a free Facebook group called Dating Tips for Savvy Single Ladies. And all you have to do is check it out on Facebook, Dating Tips for Savvy Single Ladies. And then there are 3 questions that you need to answer, because I'm very adamant about who comes in the group, to keep the integrity of the group and keep it a safe, confidential space for women who are serious about finding love, and it's a priority for them. So in that group every week, I show up 2 to 3 times, giving, live Facebook live, tips. And every day there is a tip in a form of a post and the conversations. And then every week we have a weekly Q&A session with the community.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for the work you do.
Thank you for the work you do. I wish I knew you when I needed you so bad.
Well, we're here. We always can collaborate and co-create together.
Exactly. And as you were saying that, what you do, I was thinking how important it is that we all take responsibility to heal. That's what putting the baggage outside means, because you can't just, leave the baggage outside. It's a process, and people like Gabriela, Lucia and myself, but definitely the work you do with trauma, which I bow to people like you, because it takes an expert to really heal.
It is important, and it's not for everyone. It's for those who are really beyond eager to let go. And one of the beautiful things that I find is that those who are really committed and eager, when they go all the way in, they really go all the way in, and there's no turning back. And that's one of the things that people scare. So it is a beautiful, beautiful process once you see them outside of it and into their own beautiful butterflies and the cocoons. It's just a beautiful memory, and it's not a sour memory anymore in their life. So
it's so freeing.
Yes.
Right? Like you're out of the jail that you have created for yourself.
Yes. And that's what, like, for all those who always ask about, the emotional trauma recovery and all that, it's like a very integrative process, because it's not just the mindset. We're coaches, we can help you to get there to the next thing. But as science has shown us, we have that memory inside of us in our body, and that also needs to be addressed. And I tell you, it is beautiful, and it's painful, and
you're absolutely right.
It just needs to be out there, and many times the pain is what actually helps you catalyze. Give you the extra push, like once you experience that release of that pain, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. And I'm so grateful for all the mentors I have, my own teachers. I even have been able to coach with to learn from, like, one of my mentors with that therapeutic kink, and even bringing that into recovery, trauma recovery is just fascinating.
Amazing.
So there's a beautiful world out there for people who are ready.
Yes, exactly. And you know what, Gabrielle, Lucia, what I was hearing from you is, like, the only way to it is through it.
Through it. You have to do it. And it's not even about pushing anything. It's just because, we have this mindset that to get through it, we had to push ourselves to do it. And I was just
Yes.
listening to somebody about it. And
Yes.
when you work with trauma, it just doesn't feel in alignment anymore with the body, because the body has gone so much and has been in suffering and pain for so long, that when you send that subliminal mindset in your subconscious, it can create resistance, and we start creating, we start going through it with resistance, but it's still so painful.
Yeah.
And one of the things is like going through it, like through the trauma, through the experiences, through the hard times. It's just by following, it's by finding what you mentioned a lot, is by finding that what is next, like finding in your heart center, in your core, what it is that I desire in my life. Let that be that beautiful golden rope that pulls me into that tunnel. Then, all over here, push me through it. But let that be the golden rope that pull me into the tunnel. So it's about finding that beautiful what's next, the
Yeah.
goddess what's
Totally.
next. So
Totally.
I know I'm passionate about that, but
I love it. I'm just like listening to you and I'm like going into that world.
I know. So thank you so much. Again, your website is
datingwithconfidencecoaching.com.
awesome. I'm so excited, and I'm so excited for all the women that are gonna come through you this year, and they're gonna be able to manifest amazing relationship. That's so yummy and delicious and orgasmic for our planet. That's why our planet need more yummy, delicious relationships out there.
Yes, exactly. More love. Man,
Yes.
do we need more? I was thinking, like, as love coaches, we our world needs us more than any other time, because this is really above and beyond finding love with somebody else. This is really the process of finding love with yourself.
Yes, indeed.
It's amazing what comes from that.
Yes, it's amazing. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you
So
for
much.
having me. I appreciate you.
You're very welcome. So, to all our amazing viewers, thank you so much for tuning in to another amazing episode at Lucia Gabriela TV, the place to be where we come to learn how to master our love life, our relationships, and our sexuality. So, see you next time.